my arms. Please, just for a moment. I'm thirsty. It's hot.
You got water there?
I can't drink like this!
Hey.
Hello.
Kiss hand.
What?
Number 34.
34? Much of time, and I.
Just have my
What
arms.
do you want?
One string.
I must have my arms free. I must have my arms free.
Doctor said not to. Still, he's having his dinner party upstairs, isn't he?
Only one drink of water. Might shut him up then.
Please, Rouse. Just a drink. I'm better now.
Here's one.
Thank you. If you just free my arms. I'm better now. There are two of you.
Come on, then.
Over here.
Over here, right. That's it.
That's it. That's it.
Oh! Stop it! Stop it, Yankee! Get up there!
Master! Master! I couldn't hold it, sir.
It's all right, it's all right.
Get up. You will go back to your room. Now.
Do you know him?
No, Dr. Seward.
But you...
I must beg your pardon, Doctor. And ladies. And yours, sir.
Count Dracula, are you sure you have no...
I have not the pleasure of this gentleman's acquaintance, Dr. Seward.
Come, dear lady, sit down. Now, gentlemen, it's all over. There's no more danger. Just sit quietly and you'll be quite all right. There we are. Count, it seems impossible
The
to
deranged
believe.
mind has long been a subject of interest to me, Dr. Seward. I found your own recent treatise on the subject quite fascinating, though, may I say, simply as an amateur, I beg to differ with you on certain questions.
Indeed. Oh, Mrs. H., there's some broken glass. Now, there's no panic, but I wonder if you could clean it up. Mrs. Weston, pray accept my profoundest apologies.
Oh, that poor man.
I think we might all be more comfortable in the study.
Oh, yes, yes, of course.
Now, dear lady, are you sure there's nothing I can get you?
Oh, no, thank you. No, John. I'm sure Lucy and I would be quite comfortable.
Well, I think the evening's been somewhat disrupted. I'll get Roberts to take you both home.
No, John, that won't be necessary. We told Radley to be here by 9.
Tell me what you know of that poor fellow, or does my curiosity trespass on professional etiquette?
Well, he was the sole survivor of a Russian bark called the Demeter, which was wrecked off the West Cliff a month or so ago. He appears to be English, and that's all we know of him.
Count Dracula, did you not journey from Varna aboard the Demeter?
Yes, indeed, Miss Weston, but I was fortunate enough to disembark at Rotterdam. I had some business to attend to.
Did you perhaps encounter my patient on your voyage?
Well, he may have joined the ship after I left it. In any event, I saw very little of either passengers or crew. My habits being, as you know, nocturnal. Daylight is painful to me.
Oh, poor Count. Can nothing be done? John, surely you can suggest something?
Well, I'm afraid the Count's condition is quite outside my field of study.
And you ate nothing at dinner. Even your glass was untouched.
I do not drink wine. I'm a poor guest, Doctor. I apologize.
Oh, not at
Tell me,
all.
what is your diagnosis of that patient, if I may ask?
Well, I've hardly arrived at one yet, but my former tutor, Professor Van Helsing, has promised to examine him the day after tomorrow.
Professor Van Helsing. is a renowned authority. He has no name, your patient.
No, to us he is known only as 34. That is his room number.
He can tell him nothing of his background. No relatives have come forward.
No, none. Yeah, if you'll forgive me, Mrs. Weston, I think I'd better go and see 34. Good night, Lucy. His behavior's changed of late. It's become quite incomprehensible.
Oh, of course, John. How thoughtless of us. I'm sure we can entertain ourselves till the carriage comes.
Play for us again, Count.
No need to wait. Roberts will drive you. It will save your coachman turning out.
And you, Count. Perhaps you could join us.
I should be delighted. My activities are so restricted during the day. I've seen very little of Whitby. I shall explore the town after our journey. A moonlight stroll, perhaps. Yes, you see, the moon is full tonight.
Yes, well, if you'll excuse me, Mrs. Weston.
Dr. Seward, I would welcome an opportunity to meet Professor Van Helsing if the many calls on his time permit. I've long wished to cross swords with your eminent friend. Metaphorically speaking, of course.
Number 34.
So, docile until the day before yesterday, then a sudden outburst, then somnolent during the day, but restless, excitable, violent even at night.
Yes, I'm afraid so.
The changes occur between sunrise and sunset.
That's right, Professor.
You say he has an insatiable desire to consume the lower forms of animal life. In fact, he has become zoophagous.
Zoophagous? Yes, I see.
Talks wildly of someone or something he calls the master. Well, the metamorphosis you described should take place within the hour.
Yes, open up, Jenkins.
Would you like me, Mr. S, to put the jacket on him, sir? It's nearly time.
No. Just wait within call.
Well, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, we are not to be disturbed. Doctor. Mm-hmm. A little more meat. Meat and more sugar. I yearn for meat and sugar.
Yes, and the flies, they...
Oh, yes, my friends like it too, see? I grow fat on their innocent greed. They also serve, Doctor. They also serve the master.
You seem fatigued. Come, sit down. Sit. So, we will talk, eh? You're tired. So tired. Now, tell me of the master.
He must not find me wanting should he summon me. I must be ready for his call.
Of course. As one so honored, you must.
Honored? Yes. Honored.
You were called. You were chosen. How? And when?
Blood is life. Blood is life. Those were his words. I was afraid of him. But then I didn't know. I disobeyed him, but he was merciful. I have a destiny. He told me not to venture beyond my apartments. He always came to me after nightfall. I knew I must not linger,
Smack, I command you. He is mine.
Who is your master?
Not now! Master? Master!
Yes.
We Shikelis have a right to be proud. In our veins runs the blood of many a proud race who fought as the lion fights for lordship. Transylvania was the whirlpool of Europe. It was there that the Ugrics from Iceland came. The Ugrics, imbued by the fighting spirit of Thor and Woden, who sent their berserkers to conquer the world. Men said the werewolves themselves had come. In Transylvania, the Ugrics found the Huns, whose warlike fury swept the earth like a living flame, till it was said their veins ran with the blood of those witches of old who, expelled from Scythia, had mated with devils in the desert. Fools. What witch, what devil was ever so great as Attila, whose blood runs in these veins? To us, for centuries, was entrusted the guarding of the frontier with the Ottoman. Water sleeps. The enemy is sleepless. So runs the ancient Turkish saying. Wallach and Moggia went down beneath the crescent moon. But it was a Dracula who crossed the Danube and defeated the infidel on his own ground. It was a Dracula who led the Shikelis when they threw off the Hungarian yoke at bloody Mohawks. What are these upstart Habsburgs and Romanovs compared to our ancient line that stretches back to and beyond the blood-crazed Attila himself? But blood is too precious in these days of dishonorable peace. And the glories of the greatest of all races are a tale which is told.
The final chapter's not written, dear Count. Why, yet one of your noble race lives.
You were wise, Miss Weston, for one so young. Yes, the blood that runs in these veins is warm. And the sacred trust of my ancient house demands, come what may, it must not slacken.
Not at all, dear lady. Now... Oh, I beg your pardon. Your mother told me you were alone.
I was.
Goodbye, Miss Weston. I've trespassed already too much upon your hospitality.
Oh, no, pray don't leave us on Dr. Seward's account. He is here principally to see my mother.
I have just seen your mother, Lucy, and I'm afraid she's not at all well. I've advised complete rest. Seclusion, even.
Oh, surely not. We see so few new faces, and Mother has so enjoyed making your acquaintance, dear Count. I feel it's quite taken her out of herself.
Lucy, your mother's condition is serious,
John,
and I have to
don't be
advise...
so
Lucy, you must understand... Well, in fact, I only came to tell you that Mrs. Harker is here.
Mina. Mina?
Mrs. Harker, madam.
Oh, Mina.
Lucy, my dear.
I'm so glad you could come. You must stay as long as you possibly can.
Alas, I have little to detain me at home.
Oh, hush, dear. All will be well. Mina, you know John.
Dr. Seward, how nice
I
to
saw your
see
carriage.
I want you to meet Count Dracula, who's recently
Count
arrived.
Dracula. Sir, you know my husband.
Madame.
Oh, Mrs. Harker.
He journeyed to your castle, sir.
Oh, yes, indeed, Mrs. Harker.
On business, he could not confide in me.
I profited much from his brief stay with me, a most excellent man of business and a rewarding companion.
Where is he?
But I look forward to renewing his acquaintance more than I can say.
What became of him?
Became of him. Is he not here in England?
Poor Mina's husband disappeared while on business. I did not realize it was to Castle Dracula.
It was your wish his destination should remain secret, I believe, Count.
Yes. Yes. I have many enemies in my native land. Enemies. And that was my reason for enjoining your husband, to say nothing of his destination. But has he not returned? He left my castle in the best of good health and spirits. He was even kind enough to write to me from Prague, a charming, quite unmerited letter of thanks.
A letter from Prague, but thereafter.
You are indeed unfortunate in your loss, Mrs. Harker. Let us hope, however, it is merely temporary. In the meantime, if there's anything I can do, any way in which I can be of help, I am, of course, yours to command. I cannot but feel in part responsible for poor Mr. Harker's misfortune.
You are generous, sir.
Indeed, Count, you are too kind.
Morning. You playing your little games again, have you? Shall I make the bed, sir?
No, later.
I'll be just outside if you want me, sir.
Go.
Sir, a dog, a little puppy dog, a dog for me to play with, sir. It would come to no harm, sir. It would be part of me in time.
We shall see. We shall see. You spoke yesterday of the master. Tell me of him.
Few were chosen. Few were called to serve.
He asked much of those so honored.
Everything.
What manner of man is he to command such loyalty?
Mighty.
I'm really very concerned. It seems quite impossible to persuade Lucy of the gravity of her mother's condition. Her attitude is extraordinary. I would think her callous if I didn't know how sweet and tender she really is. Perhaps if I had Count Dracula's persuasive powers, I might...
Feel the Count exerts too great an influence over Lucy, Dr. Seward.
No. Yes. Let me confess it. I'm jealous. Jealous. She seems remote from me.
Dr. Seward, please. Lucy and I have no secrets from each other. She loves you, Dr. Seward, have no doubt. We've written to each other daily since my marriage. She wrote of nothing and of no one but you.
Thank you. The Count has some kind
Shall
of...
I offend you if I speak of girlish infatuation? Well, the Count has charm, looks, intelligence, breeding. And above all, he has a quality few generous hearts can resist. Melancholy. A melancholy born of suffering, bravely endured.
What suffering?
Ah, noble reticence is yet another weapon in his formidable armory.
But Lucy and I are to be married. How can she...
Oh, Doctor, be patient.
Well, I don't like the fella. There's something about him...
Mina! Mina! Mina!
Clear the way!
Stop it!
Just here.
Johnathan! Oh! 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 Johnathan! Oh! Oh, he does recognize me!
No, you must not exert yourself. Gently.
Oh, John.
You have me at a disadvantage.
Johnathan, it's Mina, your wife.
Your name means nothing to me. Is this some scheme of yours, Doctor? Hmm? Some effort to disturb? Raise questions of self-doubt? Then probe? Disorientate? And probe?
No, calm down. You're all right. Get down a bit.
Listen!
Right, get
Wait. He calls me Master. Cut off. Forgotten. You! Go!
No, miss. There don't seem to be no one living there at all.
Thank you, Rudley, but I think I'll look myself.
Very well, miss.
Home, Rudley. And don't spare the... Never mind.
Oh, he recognized her, obviously. Yet something stopped him. Now what, John?
Well, this has happened before with this patient, Professor. The pattern is recognition, identification, then rejection.
It's happened before, when?
Well, the other night we had a certain Count Dracula here. Not at my direct invitation, let me say. Lucy and Mrs. Weston seemed quite bowled over by the fella. Well, 34 broke out of his room and burst in on us. It was the most pitiable exhibition. He positively fawned on our romantic exile, and then a repetition of the incident this evening. A quite normal apology for mistaken identity.
Oh, no. That must have startled your guest.
Thank you, Mrs. H. Well, as a matter of fact, he showed remarkable presence of mind. Two of my most experienced attendants had failed to restrain 34, but a word from the Count calmed him instantly.
Oh, perhaps this Count shares my interest in mesmerism.
Yes, he did mention something of the kind.
Indeed.
Wait. 34 and Harker were the same man, that we know. Harker and Dracula were constant companions a month or so ago, but Dracula claimed not to recognize him. Now, isn't that suspicious? Is it possible that Count has something to hide?
Oh, John, we must not let our personal feelings get the better of us. Why Harker was so changed, his unfortunate wife could scarcely recognize him.
I don't trust the fella.
John, after you left, Harker spoke of his desertion by the master. That's a good sign.
Yes, if he's rid of this particular obsession, then...
Then we advance. But where?
let me... Oh, there again. Good
afternoon, Mr. Swales. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Well, won't be long before I joins them, eh? Well, there's a little chuckle. There's a little chuckle, right? I has a little chuckle. These inscriptions now. This lovely bud, so young and fair, called hence my early doom, just came to show how sweet a flower in paradise may bloom. And a proper little tart she were.
Mr. Swales, surely it's disrespectful to the dead.
Downright lies, some of them.
Lies?
Lies, sure enough. See here, sacred to the memory of George Cannon, who died in the hope of a glorious resurrection, falling from the rocks at Sketterness. This tomb is erected by his sorrowing widowed mother to her dearly beloved only son.
Mr. Swales, I think that's disrespectful and quite unchristian to speak.
'Twas her as was unchristian, she drove him to it. She did mind the worries, cut his throat from ear to ear. A proper old bism she were.
But, Mr. Swales, I thought it said he fell.
Fall he did. But 'tweren't from no rocks, no. 'Twere from that bridge over the railway there, with the London Express roaring through Bosham cutting. Tore her to pieces he were.
Mr. Swales, stop, I beg you.
Glorious resurrection, why. Come Gabriel's horn, 'twon't be more than my hat full of poor George left to answer the call. Empty that. Yeah, and unconsecrated, you know. Him being a suicide. Tain't holy ground.
Lucy, it's become quite chill. I promised your mother we'd...
I had a little chuckle, you know, in there.
Indeed you do, Mr. Swales. Well, we must bid you good night until tomorrow.
Oh, well, good night, no.
I do so enjoy our little chat.
Me too, me too. Good
Good
night.
night, Mr. Swales.
Good night, miss.
Lucy, I do wish you wouldn't encourage her.
Oh, Mina, don't be so governessy. He's a marvellous old character.
I'm afraid I find him quite unpleasant. Come, dear, the night air can do us no good.
I called on Count Dracula this afternoon.
Lucy!
What?
Well, surely you didn't go alone.
He was out. It was quite strange. The house was empty. No servants, no one. Dust sheets over everything. Very strange.
Lucy, you really mustn't compromise yourself like this. Think of Dr. Seward.
Oh, John. John is so taken up with his work, he scarcely has time to think of anything else now.
It seems to me, if I may say so, that it's you who scarcely has any time for him. And I, for one, am more than grateful for his devotion to poor Johnathan.
Poor Count. To have suffered so much, yet to bear no malice. Such charm, such a compelling intelligence.
I find him almost sinister.
Oh, you are just affected by John's silly prejudice. I find him fascinating. Quite fascinating.
Only yesterday she seemed so vital.
Professor Van Helsing, Dr.
Oh,
Corin
he's
is
here.
expecting you.
Yes. Oh. Professor Van Helsing, madam.
Calm yourself, Frau, calm yourself. Mrs. Weston, is it not enough we have one invalid on our hands? We cannot afford another. Come, John, where's our patient?
Oh, let me.
No, I would prefer we saw her alone.
Oh, John.
Under the circumstances,
Come,
Mrs.
John.
Weston, I think it would be better.
I shall remain within call should you need me.
Thank you. The mother?
Yes.
Severe angina pectoris, am I right?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
She's not been told.
Well, not in so many words. I warned her, of
Well,
course.
it's only a
against-
matter of time, John. You realize that. So we must proceed with caution. Be guarded in our reports. Pulse faint. Erratic. Your findings?
I can find no cause. There appears to be a massive loss of blood, but there's no visible wound. And there's no indication of any internal hemorrhage.
Himmel!
What is it? Professor, what...
John, I'm about to ask you something I have no right to ask as one medical man to another, only as a friend. I think a transfusion of blood is called for, is essential.
But how can we take
now,
that risk?
I know that you share many of the ethical and medical doubts sincerely held by many of our colleagues.
Is Lucy's life in danger?
I fear so.
But how? Why?
John, you must trust me. We must act in secrecy and now. Look, I would offer myself without hesitation, but, well, my ears...
No. It's very well.
Good. And now we must return to the asylum to make ourselves ready. I will do what I can to calm Mrs. Weston's fears. But remember, John, secrecy is essential.
Well, shouldn't we get someone to sit with
No,
us?
no.
Well, Mrs. Harker, surely.
No, I would rather she were left alone. No, there's nothing to be done for her till we return. She will be safe enough until nightfall. See, she responds already.
Surely she needs more. So little has done so much. Don't concern yourself with me.
No, it's better she remains as she is. Undisturbed rest will soon put her on the road to recovery.
I will stay with her.
No, we dare not risk any excitement should she wake. When you are a little stronger, you better drink this. And then you must rest. And when you are a little stronger, I will summon the carriage. So.
God, man, what are you doing?
John,
Haven't I borne enough? This I endured against my principles in the name of science. That popish affront to Christian conscience. I cannot endure.
John, we must seek help from any quarter.
Superstition. Rank superstition.
I act as a man of science, incredible as it may seem
I
to
can
you
see
now.
no scientific justification for that.
John, believe me, I know more of the ways of... I cannot give open expression to what are, as yet, thank God, only suspicions. I can only swear to you, John, swear by all that both of us hold holy, that I act solely for the life of that young girl.
These suspicions, why can't you confide in me?
Oh, John, think of your reactions to this crucifix. I fear if I told you what I'm thinking, I would try your patience too far. No, trust me.
And both John and the Professor have given strict instructions that she is not to be disturbed on any account. They have even locked her door. And taken away the key.
No harm can come to her. She's in your own room within easy call should she need anything. Trust in John's devotion and in the Professor's great knowledge and experience, Mrs. Weston. We must obey them.
They say she's in a coma, but improving. There's nothing to be done, they assure me. But, oh, if only I could see her. Oh, but how thoughtless and selfish of me. How is poor Johnathan?
Quite unchanged, I'm afraid. He doesn't even recognize me. Perhaps our chance meeting was too much for him after all he's been through. All he speaks about when he speaks is having been deserted, abandoned.
Abandoned? By whom?
Some figment of his imagination. The master. He has another now were his words last evening. Even Dr. Seward seems baffled and the Professor strangely silent. He urges me to be patient. And I can be.
Professor Van Helsing, madam.
Mrs. Weston.
Oh, John, Professor. Oh, but surely Perks could have provided some food.
No, that won't be necessary.
No.
Oh, may I?
No, you may not.
Oh, John.
Now, really, dear lady, please be patient.
Yes, but I haven't seen her for so long.
No, it is much better that we should see her first. And then...
What? Light the lamp.
What is it?
Bring my bag quickly. The second transfusion is vital. Heilige Mutter van Hort.
I'm ready. Professor, what is this?
First things first.
Are you out of your mind? The transfusion man.
Will avail her nothing unless she is protected.
Protected? From what? By flowers of garlic?
Help me, John, help me, and I'll explain.
But for heaven's sake,
Don't
Professor.
Do not argue. Tie these stems tightly. We must have unbroken rings. I suppose here, you have not even heard of vampires.
Vampires? I've heard a superstition that mythical beings were supposed to exist in a bygone age that drank the blood of others.
Yes, well, Lucy has been attacked by one.
Preposterous! What in heaven's name are you asking me to believe? This is the 19th century, men. We're men of science.
Well, what then is your explanation? Men of science deal in facts. Let us enumerate them. 1. Lucy, in perfectly good health 2 days ago, suffers a massive loss of blood sometime during the night. So great an effusion, in fact, that her very life is in danger. 2. We can find no cause for this loss. No external wound to account for it. No indication of internal hemorrhage. 3. After our transfusion this morning, we return. And what do we find? That within a matter of hours, her condition is worse, if anything, than it was before. Again, there is no, shall we say, rational explanation. But what is the inescapable conclusion? That not once, but twice, enormous quantities of blood have been drawn off. But how, John? By whom? Answer me that.
Well, there must be some explanation.
I have given you one.
A legendary monster. A fantasy creature from an age of superstition.
It is the only possible hypothesis from which we can proceed. If you cannot accept it, at least do not hinder me.
What do you propose to do?
Work, work, work. We have wasted precious time. Vampires are subject to laws. Some are stronger in their ability to withstand the natural law than others. But all are subject to the ascendancy of the cross, properly sanctified.
You placed a cross on Lucy's bed.
Yes, well, it was dislodged. Possibly by the poor child herself. Accidentally, I hope. Nonetheless, if the doors and windows of the victim's room are encircled with unbroken chains of garlic flowers, no vampire can enter.
Professor,
believe me, John, this simple remedy is as old as the force we seek to overcome.
But we can defend her. I'll have her taken to the asylum and kept under lock and key.
John, we have no match for him. He is far stronger than us. As for locks and keys, you saw for yourself the window was secured. Well, inspect it, you will find no sign of a forced entry.
But surely, if we were to keep watch hidden in the room...
John, we do not know what we should be looking for. No, it's better we rely on this age-old remedy. Besides, if we can succeed in frustrating him, he may grow careless. And then we may perhaps rid not only Lucy, but the world of this monster.
Destroy him?
Yes, there are means. But we must know more of our adversary before we can avail ourselves of them. Believe me, John, in his destruction lies the only surety of Lucy's salvation. Now, forgive me, my dear friend, if I seem impatient, but there is still much to be done. We were best to leave by the window. There is less chance of breaking the chains. Not so much this time. Just enough to ensure...
Don't think of me, I beg you.
I do not think of you, John. I think of her. And we do not yet know the extent of his hold over her. It is better she remains much as she is for the present. Stronger in body, inactive in mind.
Oh, John.
Oh, forgive us, Mrs. Weston. We didn't mean to disturb you.
Oh, is she better? May I see her? Oh, you've been gone so long.
She is much better, Mrs. Weston, but I must ask you to be patient. Any excitement should you rouse her now will prove fatal.
Oh, John.
No, we must do as the professor says.
Oh, but just a moment, John. It's more than I can bear.
It is of Lucy we must think, my dear lady, not of our personal feelings. Believe me, I am not insensible of the pain I cause you, but I must, I fear, insist. Or you would not. You could not endanger the life of one you hold so dear.
You agree with the professor?
The professor is a man of more experience in learning than I. It seems that I can serve Lucy best by obeying him.
I shall sleep here on the couch.
No.
Oh, you cannot deny me that.
Well, I think a good night's rest would... But no, you are right. I cannot deny you that small comfort. But, Mrs. Weston, I beg you, do not, as you value your child's life, enter that room. Do as I say, and with God's grace, all will be well. Now, I must give you something to make you sleep. You must rest.
You'll excuse me for a moment, sir. I'll go and see if Mrs. Weston is at home. I'm sorry, sir, but Mrs. Weston is not able to see you. She feels sure you'll understand.
But men have believed throughout the ages in the existence of the undead. Tertullian, St. Augustine.
Yes, Tertullian, St. Augustine. What do they know of science? No educated man in this century believes anything of that kind.
Well, no educated man supposes for one moment that Dr. Mesmer was anything but a charlatan. But you have seen for yourself that mesmerism is a reality. So, the educated man must think again. Science is based on facts. If the facts give our science the lie, we cannot just ignore them. Now, I offer you facts. These I have collected with the help of Professor Reitzler of Vienna. Examine them. You will find here overwhelming testimony from modern, from ancient, from skeptic, from religious, from every civilization throughout the ages to the existence of the undead. To the Assyrians and Babylonians, he was Echima. The Chinese called him Changshai. To the ancient Mexicans, he was Xibalba. In Greece, Vrikolakas. In the South Sea Islands, Tu. The Malayans called him Penangalan. He is known from the wastes of Lapland to the jungles of India, where the Hindus called him Vital. Now, read for yourself. Leonia Lacci, Cologne, 1746. Giuseppe Davanzati, Naples, 1745. Augustin Calmet, Paris, 1747.
No, you're telling me of legend and hearsay. All this happened, if it did happen, centuries ago.
True. But not only that. In 1864, there was a severe outbreak recorded in the Tyrol. In 1870, 33 deaths in Lithuania baffled conventional medicine, yet every victim bore the vampire's mark. In 1880, a remote Sicilian village was decimated by La strega che succhia il sangue, and Reitzler himself is investigating a severe outbreak during the last 5 years in Transylvania. Now, he has found the authorities skeptical, the natives too frightened to... Leon, what is it?
Transylvania. Dracula.
Dracula? Count Dracula? What of him?
It was he who exerted such a profound influence over Lucy.
Oh, John, I know you were disturbed by his attentions to her.
Dracula comes from Transylvania.
But vampires are creatures of the night. They cannot manifest themselves till after
My
sunset.
habits, as you know, are nocturnal. Those are Dracula's own words when I questioned him about poor Harker. He and Harker traveled together from Varna, but Dracula denied ever having encountered him on board. My God, Harker called him master. He seemed subject to him in some strange way. He obeyed him instantly. But Harker's symptoms in no way correspond to Lucy's.
John, not so fast. Harker is zoophagous. Under mesmerism, he described a scene in which the master, Dracula perhaps, claimed him for his own. Active by day when the vampire is unable to leave his resting place. Harker would be the perfect agent for... Where does Dracula live?
Glebe House.
You'll only get one of your turns again, madam. Like the one you had the other day. You mark my words.
Oh, don't fuss, Perks.
We'll see who's fussing tomorrow morning, madam.
Oh, my poor child.
Cannot know a mother's love to forbid me even to see her. I must see her. Just a glance. My mind is set at rest. Well, can do no harm.
That house has not been occupied during his tenancy.
Where on earth does he live?
We must find his hiding place. He's powerless by daylight. We must question Harker more. In his present despair, he has spoken of nothing but his desertion by the master. He must tell us something.
Abandoned. Abandoned. He's no use for me now. I, who was chosen to serve, am his but to command, cast aside. What have I done? What have I done?
Let us take you to him. Tell us where he lives.
Would I not fly to him did I but know? What would boats and bars be?
How does he come to you?
He comes no longer.
And when he did come?
He spoke to me. I heard his voice. I felt the thrill, the sweetness of his presence.
Since you have been here, when did he first come to you?
It was... What is time to him, the Eternal One? What is my poor span to him, the Everlasting?
Tempt my servant no further. I have triumphed, and I will triumph again. Pit not your puny strength against me, the mighty and everlasting. I shall not rest till I and my chosen hold sway over all.
Triumphed. Lucy. Lucy!
John, think of Mrs. Weston. My poor friend, I have no wish to add to your pain. I fear you must see this.
Oh, my God. A transfusion, quickly.
No, John, it is too late.
You said she was safe. I wanted to stay. I begged you to let me stay. Oh, she was at his mercy the moment we left.
Look, John, the garlands are broken.
What? But how?
Mrs. Weston, perhaps. Had she another key to this room?
I don't know. She might have.
No, John, no. Think. Her daughter's death will be grief enough for her to bear. Perhaps, indeed, too much. If it was she who... then she could not have known what she was doing. Oh, John, we have had tragedy enough.
I'm here, my love.
Kiss me. Kiss me.
Lucy.
Too late. She is his.
Professor Van Helsing, sir. Professor, come this way, please. Sir. Thank you.
There is nothing I can say, John. I realize that. No words. But life will go on, whether we will or not. We failed. I failed. I underestimated our adversary. Even now, I'm not sure I have the measure of him. Was Mrs. Weston's impulse spontaneous? I wonder. John, if Lucy's salvation is to be ensured, you must realize that now she has joined them. She is one of the Legion of the Undead.
I will not believe that Lucy...
That was not Lucy. That was his creature. And it must be destroyed.
She's dead.
She is not dead, John. Oh,
Enough of your necromancy! Lucy, whom I loved, is dead. Is that not enough? Leave me. Ask no more of me.
I must. We failed to save her life. We must not fail to save her soul. I have the key of the vault. We must open it tonight.
Mina. Lucy. Surely you're not afraid of me. I have come back to tell you I have found not rest, but joy. Joy beyond understanding. Mina, there's nothing for you here. Join us, who have dominion over all. See, I am no spirit. I am flesh transformed. Let me kiss you, my dearest. Life, as you know it, is pain and slow decay. Life for me is exquisite, ecstatic, everlasting. There is no pain, only desire. Desire fulfilled.
Mrs. Harker? Mrs. Harker, surely you should not be alone in this place. At so late an hour.
I have just seen Lucy.
Miss Weston? That is not impossible, my dear lady. I am not an unbeliever. I do not scoff. There is life beyond the grave. Life everlasting. For those who are favored, as our dear Lucy has surely been favored.
She begged me to join her.
And you are willing.
What have I got to live for? Johnathan is lost to me, and Lucy was my only friend. But to take one's own life.
You would not be required to take your own life, but to be reborn.
Oh! 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 Would you be kind enough to escort me home, Count? I'm feeling very tired.
Allow me, Mrs. Harker. You will trust Lucy, come what may. Then only be patient. She will come to you again. But keep your own counsel. The elect must be forever on their guard.
John, my bag.
Professor, I beg you.
No, John.
Look!
Look, John!
But how?
She must return before sunrise. We have only to wait.
The authorities should be informed. What are we waiting for?
She must return before sunrise. John, whatever you may see, whatever effect it may have on you, do not leave this spot. Leave everything to me, you understand? Leave everything to me.
What is it? Lucy.
That is not Lucy, that thing you see.
Lucy. She's alive.
John, come back!
Abjure te in nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
Oh, my poor friend. Come. There is more to be done. We must lay her to rest forever. Come. There is nothing to fear. We must drive it through her heart. Only so can she be free. Believe me, John. It is the only way.
See, John. She's at peace. At last. It's over.
For Lucy, yes. But the source of this evil is still with us. Yet you know nothing of his whereabouts.
I'm cast off. He has abandoned me.
He is no longer close at hand.
He has abandoned me.
Mrs. Harker's arrived, sir.
In the drawing room.
Beg pardon, sir?
In the drawing room.
Oh, would you mind going in the drawing room?
Rouse. Sir. Look after him, please.
I came as soon as I got your message, Professor. Is Johnathan?
Mrs. Harker, now do not be alarmed. We need your help. Your husband has reached a turning point in his case, and there are certain questions he must answer if we are to help him more. Now, it may be that he will speak to you, his wife, more freely than he will speak to me, a stranger. At present, he is in a mesmeric trance. If you would be so good as to put to him the questions that I wish to ask.
Yes, yes, of course.
Yes, thank you.
Johnathan, where is the master?
Johnathan, where is the master?
Again.
Where is the master?
You, spurned, cast off, for you. For you, he's turned his face from me.
Oh.
You have the place that should be mine, and mine alone.
No.
See, you have his mark, the mark that he withheld from me.
Mrs. Harker, that mark on your throat, what caused it?
I don't know.
You must. When did it first appear?
I do not know.
Dracula? Was it Dracula? Your husband said you bore his mark. When did you last see Dracula? How did he come to you and where?
I don't know. I remember nothing.
You have given yourself to him.
Professor, there's no evidence for that.
That is not evidence enough. Admit that you are in his power. Admit it. We may yet be able to save you. Woman, your very soul is in danger.
No. No, she knows eternal bliss.
She?
Lucy. Dear sweet Lucy. It was but a vision, yet she seemed to appear to me as if in life, to embrace me as if in life.
Embrace you? Then it was she. When did you last see Dracula? Answer me!
Professor, we can't go on. She can't tell us anything more.
No, you're right, John. She cannot aid herself. But we are not yet powerless. See that she is kept here. She must be put to bed and given a draught.
Oh, Master. Master, you've come back to me. Yes, Master. You've only to command. Mina.
It is as I thought. Dracula calls his own. We must follow. She's here, Master. She's here. Your servant hasn't failed you.
Lucy?
Lucy? She was but his plaything. She's no longer one of us. It's you the Master's chosen.
John, that grave, what do you know of it?
Well, it's the grave of some poor fellow who took his own life. But
that is the answer. Unconsecrated ground. This, then, is his resting place. Oh, shh.
She's here, Master. See, I've brought her, as you commanded.
Abjuro te in nomine Patri et Filius et Spiritus Sancti. Have pity. Have pity.
What pity have you shown for those who fell beneath your sway?
Everything I have I would give you. Life eternal. Domination over the powers of darkness. Knowledge. The knowledge you crave for more than life itself. The knowledge which is mine, and mine alone.
Tempt me not. The souls that you have damned forever cry for vengeance, and will not be stilled. Come. Come.